My name is Robert Daniels. I'm the CEO for the Dakota Ojibwe Tribal Council. And a little bit of background on STEM is that it's part of a larger initiative to improve the quality of life for people generally over the next 10 years.
Just like the acronym STEM stands for, science, it's all around us. No matter what we're doing or what we're seeing, it involves science somehow. Technology's definitely been big in the schools for the past at least 8 to 10 years. It's really stepped up, especially at Indian Springs and other First Nation schools. The engineering aspect, there again, it's all around us. Play structures outside are all engineered for safety. And math, it's an everyday. No matter what it is you're doing, you have some sort of math involvement.
When we were undertaking the research, we found that Flagstaff, Arizona, declared itself as the first STEM community, and this was in 2012.
This is what we're trying to promote is like a call for action in terms of getting everybody excited about going into the STEM, and DOTC being the First Nation STEM community in Canada.
We showed some interest in the program last year. One of the teachers basically just started looking it up on the internet and started getting some more information, and we looked at it again and started to roll with the program.
It's a very interesting project. It's science, technology, engineering, and math, and our students love doing it. They thoroughly enjoy working with the different projects. Really get some working in groups, get some thinking, coming up with new ideas, working together, great social as well, and they love it.
Once you start doing with your hands and seeing what you can actually accomplish, then that's when you succeed. But there's always out of reach for them. And I think with STEM we can start developing that inspiration for them to become what they want to become.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for the school. To learn math and then you become an engineer later and later in life. And then science now, I could become a scientist or an archaeologist or anything. And maybe become a doctor and nursing and helping other people.
I have one student that struggles in a lot of different areas, especially in basically sitting down, working, doing stuff at his desk. When he gets to do the STEM projects, he's really in there, he's really participating, he's trying to come up with new ideas, and quite often those ideas are really, really interesting and really a good base. And some of your smarter students didn't come up with the idea, he came up with the idea.
I am so impressed with this initiative that DOTC has taken. Robert Daniel explained me that they are focusing on this project that is called STEM. I believe that it is a wonderful project to work with, and something that kids of today, they really need to get into it. It's just not Aboriginals. I think it's for all youth. If they get exposed early to these 4 different domains, it would bode well, and it would be very foundational information that could be cultivated in them or provided to them at this time.
Anupam from DOTC got a hold of us here and asked if we would be interested in bringing that program into the school. And it so happened that we were already looking at that program, so it just kind of went hand in hand. And if he was willing to help us out with the funding aspect of ordering supplies and blackline masters for the teachers and other information that we need, it was definitely beneficial for us in the school and the community to bring this program in.
I think 40 years ago, the Tribal Council was established as one of the first tribal councils in Canada. And at that time, that was a period of devolution. It was called devolution of programs and services to First Nations. And prior to that, I guess all the decisions that were made in our communities were made by the Indian agents. And that was part of the whole Indian residential school era. Myself, I'm a product of a residential school. I went 10 years in residential school. And even though it was a painful experience, I always tell my kids and my grandkids that education is really important, that they have to get their education. That's the key to their future.
Well, they don't really come to school all the time. There's probably 50% dropouts every year, and it's not good. So basically, they would need motivation to come to school every day, wake up every morning, and do what they need to do to achieve their goals, to get in a career or even in university or something like that.
We have to then understand, all of us, that it is no longer a First Nation problem, but it's a Canadian problem that needs to be addressed and looked at very, very carefully.
If this is accepted and embraced by the schools, I think in 20 years' time you will see a whole different school. Maybe not the way the school exists right now. You won't have so many dropouts because there'll be something to look forward to. They'll have hope.
It definitely closes a gap between school and community, that gap that was once lost because of residential issues in the past. But it's starting to close that gap again because we're starting to send work home, and it's starting to come back from the parents in proof that there is hope, that there's a little gap that's going to be closed between school and community.
I actually think it's much more likely to be successful in a First Nations community if the community as a whole buys in, because those that might be struggling with it find it too easy to give it up. But if the community as a whole is behind the initiative and sees the value in it, then those students that might need a little bit of extra support or a little bit of extra help will find that help much more easily, and they'll continue on that path.
My dad always tells me every day that I can do it no matter what, and my mom tells me the same thing. My brother tells me that I can do it, and everyone in my family knows that I can do it because I'm smart and intelligent and all that.
And I guess it's kind of thinking out of the box. That's how I see it. And getting not only the school involved themselves, but also getting the community involved, from the grandmothers to the mothers and fathers and the grandfathers, on how they perceive to learn certain things and to support them.
We basically came to an understanding that it's about inspiring someone, it's about engaging a person, it's about empowering the person, and also about sustaining. Our approach was designed not to displace the education or the school in terms of its roles and responsibilities. But what we wanted to do was bring the community in a meaningful fashion.
It feels good to do something good. It's rare for opportunities in Sandy Bay for things like this.
You could barely get by with like $356 a month for you and your child. Like, that's nothing. No. And I decided to turn my life around, because I knew my child was important. And I didn't want them to grow up living on a reserve and not having anything. I wanted to give them the best that I could give him.
Our communities at present, particularly some of our more remote communities, but all of our communities in many cases, one of their barriers or challenges is often in the ability for people to have meaningful employment at the local level, meaning there is meaningful employment, there's just not a lot of employment. And so in many cases, our people are forced to migrate away from their communities, and by virtue of that, that's where they seek their opportunity. I believe that this particular area of discussion allows them to create opportunity back home. Many of our young people will have to pursue self-employment of some type if they want to continue to reside in their home communities, with their families, on their homelands, etc. And I think these are the kinds of skill sets that are going to create an opportunity for them to do just that.
it's amazing to see a big shift from the kindergarten room to the grade 1 and 2 room, and seeing their independence level, seeing that now they can start to work together as a group. And that's what's required in the STEM program, is group work. For them to be introduced to different aspects of careers, not even saying, you know, this is a career path, this is a career path, but rather them taking a look at it and saying, oh, this is schoolwork, this is kind of fun. You know, why can't we go ahead and keep doing stuff like this throughout our years?
This has to get out. I'm all for STEM because I know it's going to benefit the community. And I know if people hear it, other people hear it, they will also understand it and they will want it because they want that for their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. That's what I'd like to see.
If we can get all our young people to be able to get those high-paying jobs, I think that's where the future is going to be.